Namaste. Welcome everyone. My name is Todd Norian. I'm the founder of Ashaya Yoga. This is my monthly free workshop, look behind the scenes of Ashaya Yoga, where I get a chance to just sort of introduce myself, and hopefully more new people will come, and I'm going to talk a little bit about what really distinguishes Ashaya Yoga from all the other different forms of yoga. And I think one of the key distinguishers of Ashaya Yoga from other yogas is the whole tantric philosophy that says that we are beings of divine light, that we are perfectly imperfect. Like with all of our imperfections, we are perfect, and that we are sacred beings. In fact, every part of the body is considered sacred. We are the expression of spirit itself. You know, we are sourced from the five elements, which are formed in stars. You know, the exploding stars create all the elements. It's what created the planets. It's what created Earth. It's what created life on Earth. And then we emerge, you know, billions of years later. And so we carry, what I like to say, we carry the DNA of the divine. But so often we forget about how sacred we are. We get caught up in the smallness of life. We can start to feel like, oh, I'm lacking something, or I'm not enough, or I'm dealing with a feeling of unworthiness, or anxiety, or depression, or doubt, and we just get swept away by our emotions, which is absolutely fine. It's a normal thing. It's what happens. Ashaya Yoga is a yoga for householder yogis like us, people with jobs, people with homes, people who are really living in the world. It's not about renouncing to try to transcend this world, but because the world is infused with the same kind of sacred energy that we are, that everything in life, our relationships, other people, beings, animals, everything is infused with this sacred energy of the life force. So when we can embrace that, what happens is we start to align ourselves. So Ashaya is so much about alignment, not just physical alignment, which is really amazing. The poses are therapeutic because what I'll be asking you guys to do is to align according to the way that the body was designed. So muscles, yes, we want to relax our muscles in yoga. Hopefully by the end you're going to feel relaxed. But how you get there really matters. So in Ashaya, we ask the muscles to work because muscles are designed to contract. That's what they love to do. And part of the injuries that happen, or illness in the body, is where some parts just stop contracting, they get really weak. So we're going to be waking up these different parts of the body and then finding how to balance work and rest as we go along. So Ashaya has this physical alignment component that builds strength, flexibility, and balance. I just have to tell a funny story. So late March, we had this huge snowstorm. If you're in the Northeast, you probably got it and you remember it. And a bunch of trees fell and limbs fell down. So I have these birch trees in my backyard, and way up at the top of the birch tree, maybe 25 feet up, a huge branch broke, but I couldn't get to it to cut it down. So I called my neighbor, and he has a 30-foot ladder. We brought the 30-foot ladder out. He also has a chainsaw at the end of a pole, like that. So I tried a regular pole saw, and I couldn't get the leverage to cut it down. So he said, yeah, I'll let you borrow my equipment stuff as long as you're the one going up on the ladder. So I go up on the ladder. He hands me this big chainsaw on a pole, and I'm climbing up with one hand on the ladder. And I'll tell you, I was really grateful that I had the balance that I've developed in Ashaya Yoga so I wouldn't fall. He was steadying the ladder and encouraging me. He said, I've got you, you're not gonna fall. And so I climbed all the way up to the top of this ladder. It's almost 30 feet up. And then I bring the chainsaw up, and I'm cutting the branch down. And then many of you know, if you've cut branches, if you cut too close to where the crease is, it'll pinch. And so the branch pinched the blade. And now I'm up 30 feet and the blade is stuck in the tree. And so I said, oh, I think I know how to get this unstuck. So I balance on my right leg, and I lift my I'm 30 feet off the ground. I lift my left leg up and I push it against the tree, and I'm pushing the tree away this way to make space for the blade. And then while my leg is doing that, I lift the blade out, and then I cut again, and the whole branch finally came down and I brought my foot back. But I had so much, I was never without balance. And okay, this is an extraordinary experience, but you never know when balance is going to pay off. And just to be able to walk down a curb is really, it gets challenging after many, many decades living on the planet. So balance is a big feature of what we learn and develop in Ashaya Yoga. But it's not just physical fitness yoga. We cultivate a balance of body, mind, and heart. So we learn how to have emotional agility. And that means to be able to flow in and out of emotions rather than getting so attached or getting so stuck or being burdened down by, whatever it is. Like we all are going to experience loss. It's the nature of life. But how we go through that loss really matters. And then the heart, to be able to open the heart and to open to a greater energy is a big part of what we do in Ashaya Yoga. And after all of that, we understand that when the body, mind, and heart are aligned, happiness comes almost automatically. But in order to get to happiness, we have to learn how to hug in, embrace ourselves as this divine being, but embrace with acceptance. We need perfect acceptance of our imperfections, because otherwise we have so much doubt. Then we start criticizing ourselves, we judge ourselves, we make ourselves less than, we compare ourselves to others, and suddenly happiness is gone. Like, wow, that was fleeting. What happened to the happiness? Well, you sort of trashed it, by listening to the trash talk that we give to ourselves, which is all from our past conditioning. So I believe yoga is the practice of learning how to navigate and discern the levels of our being, the physical layer, the mental emotional layer, which is really caught in the samskaras and the grooves, the imprints that we bring from this lifetime, in past lifetimes as well, to be able to flow through them. We're not eliminating the stress in life. We're learning how to flow with it. And then always how to come home to the heart. That's what Ashaya means. It means abode of the heart. Because when you're in your heart, you're happy, you're connected to something greater, and you feel as though your loved ones have your back. Life has your back. You have your own back. The universe helps those who help themselves. So there's a big emphasis on agency, that we are absolutely responsible for our current state. And how to take responsibility with lightheartedness, with a sense of fullness, so we can celebrate days like today, which is the summer solstice, and really sort of ride the crest of the wave of happiness. Yoga tells us that our true nature is when we recognize that we are divine beings. And when that happens, your heart opens and you see your true nature, which is bubbling, vibrant, radiant, ecstatic joy. Anything less than that, you have some work to do. And of course, that means we all have work to do. It's waves. They go up and they go down. But really, it's not that you are able to sustain the highest fullness of happiness, because even in the annual cycle, we get one day out of 365 where the light is the brightest, But it's learning how to experience a happiness. No matter how high or how low you go, there's a backdrop, a larger perspective. The best analogy I can use is of the ocean and the wave. So on the surface, the waves go up and down. It's like our emotions every day is up and down. We're not ecstatic every day. But then when you have a connection, a root to the depths of the ocean of your consciousness, that you're able to sustain, not be attached to the highs and sustain the lows, such that you have this kind of everlasting happiness that I call unreasonable happiness. Happiness for no reason at all. You're just happy because you're in your heart, you're in your being. And we have, like I said, the DNA of the divine, that in our essence, we are sacred beings. And when we remember that, life gets really good. And then we seek to partner with life, to be co-participators, good stewards of our body, mind, and heart, and how to offer our purpose in service to everybody else to make life better for others and for ourselves in general. So these are some of the aspects of Ashaya Yoga. And so what we'll do is we'll have a short centering, we'll go through some movement, some warm-up, some poses, and then we'll do a meditation. Then we'll lie down at the very end of everything and just let go into Shavasana, which is known as the corpse pose, where we get to die to all that is. We get to surrender, we get to let go. And that's really the time when we integrate the class, when grace takes over, fills our heart, and we receive the blessing of the practice, which is always a reminder that happiness is at the essence. So take a comfortable seat, roll your thigh bones in. Make sure your hips are elevated on 1 or 2 blankets. That will assist creating an aligned spine, which is a curve in the low back. And then pull your tailbone down, just scoop it under to lengthen the curve in the lower back. Join your index fingers and thumbs like this. It's called Jnana Mudra, which is the mudra of knowledge. I like this because it's a connection. Think of the index finger as the individual wave, thumb as the ocean. We want to connect our own individual hearts with the universal heart right there. And then palms down, because you are the expression, you are the crystallization of the divine's desire to know itself. You can do palms up, but that's more of transcendence. I want to be here to actually experience my divine nature. So palms down. Close your eyes and draw in with acceptance. Perfect acceptance. Exhale and release any doubt, any anxiety, any feeling of lack, or sometimes shame. Inhale and invite the light of the universe to fill you. On this special day of the year, it's the brightest day, the first day of summer in the Northern Hemisphere. Let your heart expand with light. Lengthen your side ribs. And as you lift your ribs, imagine sunlight coming out of the, like if you had blinds, those Venetian blinds, and you open them slightly to let the light shine. And then take the head of your arm bones back, that's the shoulders. Lift your throat. Then draw your palate back and bring the back of the skull up so your chin is level to the floor. And then place your palate in line with the pelvis and start to align head, heart, body. And invite the breath to flow like a thread that weaves together head, heart, and body into one integrated, beautiful braid of sacred divine energy and light. Let your heart be the altar, point of radiance. And then breathe into your heart and set your intention for the class today. What do you need to receive today? And then bring your palms together in front of your heart. This is a mudra called Anjali Mudra, which means both to receive a blessing, but also to give a blessing. So with palms together in front, let's send a blessing of happiness out to each other here today, all those who may watch this recording later, and then to everyone, everywhere in the universe. Take a deep breath now and we'll chant Om. With deep acceptance, offer a gentle bow to your heart, and then when you're ready, open your eyes and offer a namaste out to all those watching. Wonderful. All right, please come up to a standing position at the top of your mat. Come stand with your feet hip distance apart and feet parallel. To make them parallel, look at the lines of your second toes. Lift your toes up You see the second toe line and the front ankle, those two lines like railroad tracks. And as wide apart as the hip bones. If you feel up here in your hip, there's two little bones that protrude, one on the right, one on the left. And just bring the second toe lines directly underneath those bones. And then palms together, lift your toes. Notice how the muscles of your legs will hug when you lift. And hug in with perfect acceptance, a deep self-embrace, as you are divine. And take your thigh bones back, tailbone in, and then inhale, sweep your arms up overhead, and then exhale, fold forward, but keep your legs steady and strong. Come on to eagle talons with your fingers, or if you have tight hamstrings, a really great tip is you put the blocks way up on the tallest edge, and then you just have your hands on the blocks. You don't have to go all the way down. Inhale now, lift your heart with the fullness of summer solstice forward. And then exhale and bow. Inhale, again, lift your heart. And exhale, bring the fullness into you. And with self-acceptance, lift your heart. Happiness comes automatically. Exhale and bow. And then push down through your feet and inhale, sweep your arms out to the side, come all the way up. And the more you can root your legs down, the more you can rise up. Look up, touch the sun, and then exhale, arms down in front. Let's do one more of those. Inhale, stretch up, look up. Hug your muscles to the bones now with self-acceptance, and then exhale. Why do we want to accept? Because you are an expression of the divine. Inhale, lift your heart halfway forward, touch the divine, and then exhale, bring it into you. Every part of you is divine. Continue to follow your own breath rhythm now. Every part of the body, every part of the mind. Even when we doubt ourselves, okay, it's not so pleasant to be in self-doubt, but in a way, isn't that also divine? So acceptance is we accept our perfect imperfections as well. Okay. Now, inhale, lift your heart halfway forward, and then exhale, step back into downward dog pose, and alternately press your heels and get the backs of your legs to stretch out. Very good. Bend both knees, hug your shins, turn your thighs in, lift your sitting bones up to try to generate a low back curve, and then look at your hands for a moment and claw the finger pads and the roots where the fingers join the hand. Pull up from your hands all the way up into your heart with self-love, self-acceptance. Really honor yourself. And then with the armpits lifted, melt the heart and release the upper back. Open to the bigger energy. There's grace on the outside and there's grace on the inside. Breathe it in. Remember. Now from your heart, push down through your hands. From your heart, root back through your heels. Awesome. Balance on your left foot. Lift your right leg up. Now imagine you're up on a 30-foot ladder. And bend your right knee and just kick your leg out to the side and push that branch away while you balance. Okay, try not to wipe out. And bring your right leg back up. Lift the inner right thigh more. And then exhale, a big lunge forward. Come on to the left hand and just stretch your right arm up. Take a look at the radiance of the sun, the light of this day. And then exhale, come down, come up, bring both hands up to your hips, and then inhale, stretch your arms up. With acceptance, squeeze your legs toward the middle. So we want to scissor the legs, which means the front leg pulls back isometrically and the back leg pulls forward. And when you do that, you'll start to feel a stretch in the hips and the legs. Now lift your left thigh a little higher. Take your outer right hip crease back and down. From your pelvis, root through the earth, and from your pelvis, rise up more. And then exhale, sweep your arms down to the sides. Go back to downward dog pose. Breathe. And then inhale, lift your left leg up. Lift the inner left thigh more. Bend your knee and pretend you're going to push a branch away. Just push it out to the side to free up your chainsaw. That's it. And lift your left leg up high. Exhale, big lunge forward. Come on to the right hand, stretch your left arm up and twist. Enjoy your breath, enjoy the stretch. And then squeeze your legs again to the middle, come up, hands to hips. Scissor your legs, then stretch your arms up. And breathe, arch back a little bit. The warrior pose, we are warriors of the heart. We could say peaceful warriors, but to really stand, you have agency and hug in with acceptance. If you want to be a good steward of yourself, you have to release the doubt. You have to release sort of being so hard on ourselves and just see if you can embrace this moment. Then from your pelvis, push back through the right heel, push forward through the left shin, and radiate your heart as bright and as long as this day. Exhale, release your arms out to the side, come into plank pose. If plank is a challenge for you, feel free to put your knees on the floor. But if you want a good workout, then hold, elbows straight, thighs back, tail in. Start to hug in, claw your pads and roots of your fingers. Draw in with self-acceptance. And sometimes we have to accept, well, I haven't done yoga in a while. I feel kind of weak today. Then please modify, bring your knees down. But if you can stay with it, come down to chaturanga and hold. Keep the head of your arm bones back. Really hug in. Thigh bones back, tailbone in. And then as you need to, come all the way down. Stretch your toes back. Inhale, come up into cobra pose. Roll your shoulders back and see if you can melt the heart forward. Continue to hug in with self-acceptance. It's really the key that opens the heart to the divine. The recognition that you are built with sacred energy. We all come from the stars. Exhale down. Bring your arms down by your sides, palms down. And then inhale, lift your right leg only up. Push your left leg down into the floor. And try to lift the inner right thigh. And make your right leg super long. Don't worry so much about height. Go for length. Exhale down. Inhale, left leg up. Root the right leg down into the earth. Inner left thigh comes up a little more. Tailbone in. And go for length. From your pelvis, push out through the left toes. Hold it. Breathe into it. Exhale down. Now clasp your hands behind your back. Root both feet and legs down into the ground. Tailbone strong. And then inhale, rise up with hands clasped. Roll your shoulders back. Lift your heart more. Take some deep breaths. Every breath filled with more and more acceptance. So you fill yourself on this day of the fullness of light with the warmth of acceptance. And then exhale, come on down. Rest for a moment. Place your hands under your shoulders. Push up onto all fours. Come up into downward dog pose. And come step by step towards your hands. Root through your feet. Sweep your arms out to the side. Come all the way up to standing. And then exhale, arms down into Anjali Mudra. And come take a wide stance on your mat. Feet parallel. Stretch your arms out so that your ankles are as wide apart as your ankles are wide. And then turn your right foot all the way open to 90 degrees. Squeeze your legs in toward the middle and then bend your right knee so we have a warrior two pose. Look out over your right fingers. And then flow into Parsvakonasana, extended lateral angle. Bring your forearm down to your thigh. Now move your thigh bones back. The top of the left thigh goes back more. Keeping that back, pull your tailbone in. Try to find the place in the middle. And then left arm up and over, shoulders back. Just take a moment to be in this pose, but scissor your legs like we did in Warrior. With a self-embrace, filled with acceptance, filled with warmth and love. For those that want to go a little deeper, can you bring your right fingers down to the outside of the ankle? You could try it. And then just assess if that's too much. You could put your hand on a block or bring your forearm back up onto your thigh. Inhale, root the legs down and come up. Hands to hips. Square your feet. Right foot square and then left foot open. Squeeze your legs toward the middle. Warrior two. Bend the left knee. Their knee is directly over the ankle. Look over the fingers, left fingers. Very good. And then flow right into Parsvakonasana. Left forearm on your thigh, right hand on your hip. Remember the bigger energy. We're all connected to grace. Breathe it in the form of your breath. Circulate it through your body. Hug in muscles to bones with acceptance. Thighs back, tail in. Then stretch your right arm up. And with happiness from your pelvis, just push down through your feet. In a sense of celebration, stretch from the pelvis out through your fingers. What a day to celebrate. Celebrate the light. And look how you're celebrating. You're loving yourself, giving your body a workout. Go deeper if you would like to. You can bring your left fingertips down or put your hand on a block. Good. Root the feet down. Inhale and come up. Hands to hips. Walk your feet together. Feet hip distance, hands to hips. And then exhale. And full Uttanasana. Now, either bring your, you could clasp your hands around your shins, hands behind you, or slide your fingers underneath your toes. So your palm can go all the way underneath the feet if you have that flexibility. If not, just try to clasp your hands behind your back. Bow a little bit deeper. Give yourself a little more acceptance. Even the parts that are difficult to accept, try to accept those. And then exhale, release, bend your knees, squat down. Come on to all fours. Actually, let's go on to the back first. First things first. Lie on your back, bend your knees. And then cross your right ankle over the left knee for Sukhi Randrasana, Eye of the Needle pose. Lift your left foot off the floor, shin parallel to the floor. And then pull your left knee in towards you. And reach behind the left thigh. And hold behind the left thigh and push your left leg into your hands. Press your right knee away from you. At the same time, create a low back curve. So try to push the inseams of your legs away from you until your low back rises just a bit off the floor. Hold. You should be getting a big stretch in the right hip. And if you don't have a stretch, hold your left thigh with your left hand. Put your right hand on the right knee and just push the right knee gently away from you while you pull your left leg in toward you. Exhale, release. And then switch. Left ankle on top of the right knee. Lift your right foot off the floor, shin parallel to the floor. Weave your hands behind the right thigh, so you have to go in between. Your left hand will go to the inside of the left leg, to the inside of the right leg, and then hold the right thigh and pull in, but push your right leg into your hands, and then move your left knee away from you. Both feet are flexed. To generate the low back curve, inner-rotate your thighs. Like why? Why do we want to do a low back curve? Well, in the Ashaya method, we honor the nature of the body as divine. And the low back thrives when it has just the right amount of curve and length. When you flatten the lower back, that's meant to be concave, we start to diminish the health of the discs. So even when you're on your back, if you can create a low back curve, you have the capacity to tone the muscles of the low back, the psoas muscle, pelvic floor muscles. So even though you're relaxed, you're also asking the muscles to work. Now you can pull the right leg in towards you with the right hand and push the left knee away with your left hand. It's like a push me, pull you kind of action. Exhale, release. Roll over to your right side. Come up onto all fours. And then glide your right knee forward over toward the right hand, a little bit off to the right, for pigeon pose. Left toes are curled under. And just draw your left hip more forward, right hip back. Then pull your tailbone in and fold forward. Keep your hips centered. So if you start tipping over to the right side, just emphasize the left hip forward more. Lift your left hip off the floor just a bit. And then push your pelvis straight down into the floor and back through the big toe ball mount. And extend forward from your hips to your head. Very good. Okay, push back into downward dog pose. And then exhale, glide your left knee toward the left hand. And square your hips, pigeon on the left side now. Make sure your back toes are curled under. And why do we do that? Well, you could relax the foot back, but oftentimes what happens, then the heel splays out to the side and the muscles get too relaxed. And then that jeopardizes the hip joint. So when you curl the toes under, the muscles engage, which remember is what the muscles love to do. And then you scissor your legs toward each other. Right hip forward, left hip back, pull the tail in and fold. Deep stretch. Stay with the stretch. Continue to breathe acceptance, self-embrace, self-esteem. Why? Because you are a being of divine light. Then inhale, come up, and lie on your back one last time. Bend your knees, feet flat on the floor. Bend your elbows by your sides. Push your elbows down, but lengthen the whole side ribs all the way up to the armpits. Take the head of your arm bones down on the floor, hug your shoulder blades to the back ribs, lift your chin, and then inhale, lift your hips straight up into Setu Bandha Sarvangasana, bridge pose. And then pull backwards with your heels to the palate. Palate becomes the center of gravity. From your palate, reach your head and push straight out through your knees. Bring your heart toward your chin, but push out through your knees, from palate to knees. So there's two things going on. The heart continues to lift towards the palate, but you extend your knees away from the palate, both at the same time. We hold this paradox just like we hold the paradox that you are both human and divine, both perfect and imperfect. And in all of that, there's a perfection we embrace. Deep self-acceptance. Exhale, lower your hips. Pause for a moment and just receive the benefit of that stretch. You might feel some heat. Your breath may increase, heart rate increases. Lungs decongest. So many physical benefits to these poses that then erases so much of the pain and discomfort in the body that gives space to happiness. When you're not in pain, what's left? Joy. Okay, so roll to your right side and come take a comfortable seated position. We'll sit for a short meditation now. Elevate your hips. Sit comfortably. Join your index fingers and thumbs. And then close your eyes. Come immediately to your breath and follow the flow and the arc of your breath in and out without trying to change the breath in any way. And then receive the breath as a gift. When I flow with the breath, my life becomes more of a flow. When I accept the breath, I am able to accept life as it is. Now begin the practice of silent mantra meditation. If you have an initiated mantra, you can use that. And I'd like to offer that if you don't have an initiated mantra, that you use the Maha Mantra, great mantra called Hamsa. Hamsa. Hamsa means I am that. And you think the mantra with no movement of the tongue or the lips or the mouth. And place the thought of the mantra into the field of the awareness around your heart. Bring your full attention to your mantra, and you let all the periphery thoughts go. We're not really trying to stop any of the other thoughts. Just simply bring your attention to the mantra. And whenever your attention wavers, just come back to the mantra. We'll meditate in this way for the next couple of minutes. Now release the mantra, bring your palms together in front of your heart, and with deep acceptance, offer a gentle bow, and then come lie down on your back for a couple minutes to rest. When we rest after meditation and after the practice, it's to integrate body, mind, and heart, and actually to cool off. That this practice of silent mantra meditation is so powerful that it heats up the subtle body and the mind. And often if we just go directly into our workaday life after meditating like this, we can feel some agitation. So lie on your back and just let it all go. Take some deep breaths. And then I'll bring you back with 3 gongs. So just listen for those. In the meantime, really release your muscles. You did so much of the engagement of muscles, now it's time to let them go. And also release the weight of all your bones. And also release any concerns in your mind, in your heart. Let yourself open to grace and receive the loving energy, the accepting energy that surrounds us all the time. We just need to let it in. And let the light of this day, the peak light of the year, this is the culmination day of all transformation. You let go and surround yourself in light. Take a moment and receive all the effects of the practice and acknowledge the absolute perfection of this moment, not needing anything to be different, choosing to want what you have. And then as you're ready, you can slowly stretch your body and then draw your knees into your chest and roll to your right side and slowly come up to sitting, and we'll close with the meditation. Sit upright Shoulders back. Take your palate back, occiput up. Close your eyes and find the flow of your breath and just let yourself align with the flow of your breath. We open ourselves to the truth of life itself, that we know for certain we come from stars, we are made of stardust, and in that we are all sky beings. We recognize that we are beings of divine light, having a human experience, and that we bring perfect self-acceptance to every moment, the best that we can, to embrace our perfect imperfections and the perfect imperfections of life. And we open our hearts to receive the blessing from the earth and the sun and the moon and the planets today, as the earth expresses her fullness with the radiance of the light. May we take that as a reminder, as an inspiration to live fully, love fully, laugh fully, and to understand that it's only through the doorway of self-acceptance that we find our infinite joy, perpetual happiness, unreasonable happiness. And this is the glue that interweaves and holds together body, mind, and heart. Bring your palms together in front. Center yourself in the light. May we be centered in the storm. May we embrace calm in the chaos and be a pillar of light to each other, ourselves, and to the world. Let's take a deep breath in now, and we'll chant Om. The light in me bows to the light in you. Namaste. Thank you so much. Hey, if you enjoyed this class, please share it. And for those interested in learning more about Ashaya Yoga, go to ashayayoga.com and become a member. And you get a month of classes and hundreds of videos from the archive. So I do look forward to seeing you soon, I hope. And may all of your days continue to get better and better and better. Okay. Bye for now. Peace and love.